Hey guys, it's Dinohunter here, and today we're looking at reptile defense mechanisms. So, this is a bit of a unique one. We're not looking at the differences between something, but regardless, I hope you still enjoy and you learn something. First, we need to see why reptiles need to defend themselves. All animals, not just reptiles, have to defend themselves. This is so that they can protect themselves from other animals that try to kill them. Even apex predators have to defend themselves. If no other animals kill them, animals from the same species will go after each other. Why is it important? It is important because of natural selection. This means that the animals that are the strongest will survive and then pass on their strong genes. The weaker genes then begin to fall away, and this leads to a species getting stronger and stronger. If weak genes get passed through, the species would become worse. Now that we've seen why it's important, let's look at various ways that reptiles do this. First is hood up, and many snakes, such as cobras, do this. They rear up and flare out scales around their neck, like you can see in the picture in the bottom. This makes them look bigger and therefore more intimidating towards predators. They sometimes also show markings that confuse the predators because they look like eyes. Snakes such as the mambas and false water cobra also flare up and hood around their neck, but it's not to the same level as the cobras. You can see a black mamba doing that in the bottom. Spreading yourself out to make you look bigger is a common defense mechanism that we'll see more of later. Like this, puff up. Puffing up is another way to make yourself look bigger, and many vipers, like the puff adder, which you can see in the bottom left, inflate themselves. This is where they get their name from. Monitor lizards often inflate their throats. It's very common in the Australian monitor lizards, like the parenti you can see in the bottom right. Bearded dragons also inflate their necks. This flares of spikes that covers their neck, and this is where they get their name from, because the spikes make it look like this lizard has a beard. Next is venom, and this is one of the more dangerous ways a reptile can defend themselves. It helps to incapacitate their prey or defend themselves against predators. While venom has terrible long-lasting effects for larger prey, the venom doesn't do much. So reptiles tend to not waste venom on larger animals, and larger animals include humans. So, if a snake were to get into a fight to the death with a human, especially a venomous snake, if it bites the human, it's gonna hurt, but that human's gonna die, let's say 20 minutes later, minimum. That snake is dying now. That's why snakes tend to not waste venom. And it's also precious to the animal, because it costs a lot to make. When snakes spit venom, their aim is to do damage to predators. It doesn't do any of the damage that the normal venom would do if it was injected via a bite. It has to get into the bloodstream to have the effects, so it won't do anything if you swallow it. However, if the spat venom gets into a cut in your skin, then you might get the effects, because it's then being delivered into the bloodstream. Next, you have camouflage, which is the art of when reptiles hide from predators and hope not to be seen, and therefore fought in the first place. Chameleons are the masters of camouflage. I'm sure we all know this. You can see a veiled chameleon in the top right. It helps them to hide from predators as well as catch prey. Chameleons change color mainly to communicate emotions to other chameleons. Next, you have poison, and some snakes, like the tiger keelback, use poison to defend themselves. Their aim of this is to make the predator eating the snake spit it out, as it tastes bad, or can cause serious damage if eaten. Many snakes get their poison from other poisonous animals, such as newts, frogs, or toads. Next, you have play dead. Some reptiles play dead as a last-ditch effort to drive off predators. It's usually not the animal's main defense mechanism, but rather one that helps it. On the left, you can see that the ring house plays dead, but it also has strong venom that it can spit. So there we go, that's 3 in 1. And on the right, we have the hognose snake, which emits a terrible smell while playing dead. Then we have tripoding, and this is a special defense mechanism only used by the Argus monitor, which is found in Australia. It lifts itself up on its hind legs and supports itself using its tail. It also hisses while doing this, creating a very intimidating display. Next is spraying blood, which is a very unique defense mechanism used by the horned lizard, and it sprays blood from its eyes. This apparently tastes and smells very bad, which puts predators off. They lose a lot of blood while doing this, so they can't do it many times in quick succession. So, here's the warning. There's going to be a little bit of blood on this next picture, so if you're squeamish, just please look away. I'll tell you when it's over. So, here we go. Here's a picture of the horned lizard spraying blood. Okay, and if you're squeamish, you can look back now. Next is the tail whip, which monitors are famous for. Fully grown big monitors, like the Asian water monitor, can potentially break bones with their tail whip. They are more likely to just give a light tail whip, which can still leave a pretty big scar. I mean, can you imagine a Komodo dragon doing that? Now that's a whole nother level of pain. The chakwala has a spiky tail that it uses to wedge itself into crevices. It does this so that predators can't pull it out of the crevices and eat it. Although it may look like a weapon, you can see it on the left hand side of that rock over there, the chakwala doesn't use its tail to whip predators or prey. Next we have curling into a ball, and many snakes like to hide their heads under many layers of coils. The bull python is famous for this. That's where it gets its name from. You can see the bull python in the bottom left. And this helps the reptile to hide its head from potential predators. The armadillo girdle lizard, which you can see in the bottom right, also gets its name for this. It bites its tail and forms a ball. It can even roll down a hill while doing this. Next is the S pose, and this is the pose that snakes do when they are about to strike. They tuck their necks back and their head faces forwards, ready to go in for a bite. Snakes only do this when they feel cornered, so never approach a snake that is in this pose. In the bottom you can see a western diamondback rattlesnake in this traditional S pose. Lastly, we have just getting away. And while reptiles can use these defense mechanisms that we've talked about on prey or other non-human prey, they are very likely to just avoid conflict and run away when they see humans. Most reptiles view humans as their main predators rather than prey. And because of this, 99.9% of reptile-related injuries happen when people try to mess with reptiles they don't want to fight. They'd much rather run away. We can see over here in the bottom left, some reptiles like to run away over water, like the basilisk. Or on the right, the others retreat into burrows, like this monitor lizard. And with that brings us to the end of this PowerPoint presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something as well. I'll see you next time. Bye!